In the bottom left-hand side of Pillars of Gold, we have got the Red Terran player in a little bit of a team kill here from Jinair Greenwings. This is Maru. Taking on the blue Protoss in the top right side of the map. We have got Trap, obviously, of course, also from Jinair Greenwings in a best of 5 TvP series. This matchup is from the King of Battles event from Alpha X, a $30,000 tournament. This was the decider match of Group A. This was the group that had MARU versus Serral. We also casted the winners match, which was Serral versus Trap. That was over on the YouTube channel. I decided to skip over the elimination match, which was Maru Mana. I had to look through those games, actually, and they just weren't that good. So I decided to just come straight through to this decider match. And I know on YouTube, you guys might be like, what, you're so disjointed with casting these games. But I'm going to cast a few of them live on stream today, and we're going to get through them. And we're going to have all the best games from this tournament going up on the channel over the next week or so, hopefully. So, yeah, enjoy. I really took your guys' suggestions from the Serral versus Trap video and kind of picked out the matches that were from players you guys wanted to see, that were mentioned the most and stuff. So as always, I will say this, and it's very true. If you want to see certain players, let me know in the comments down below, and I will always be doing my best. And of course, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget you can subscribe to see when our uploads on YouTube go up. Which is every single day at 7 p.m. CET, which is, 8 p.m. CET, which is actually really convenient, because now you know you'll just show up at 8 p.m. CET every day. Alright, so, MARU Trap best of 5. So this was in the decider match, and yeah, these replays obviously at this point, I think this was played 3rd of October. Today is the 29th of October, I believe, so these are a little bit old at this point. It's probably the oldest replays I would ever cast. But the games are just really good, right? And the players are just really good, which makes me still want to cast them and, just kind of make up for the fact that I've just not had a chance to before now. But it's also good because I did watch a little bit of these games originally, and now I have no idea what happened in these games. So, in a way, time is our best friend, and has fixed that little problem. As we get set up, we're waiting for this proxy play to set up here from Trap in the top left corner. Looks like we'll have a Stargate to open with. Arrow opens with the Reaper, and it comes across the map to confirm there is indeed a Nexus. It's a Twilight Council! Okay, I mean, that kind of makes sense too, right? Up in the corner of the map, trying to hide a Twilight Council in the corner is a kind of common thing. I guess Stargate, you can maybe get it further down the left-hand side. As the Adept is going to get a first shot on the Reaper, so we'll chase it away. Should not be able to reach for the kill. But it does turn the Reaper away with limited scouting as well, right? You don't get to go back here and see where the next pylon is. You don't get information on that, so MARU has to play a little bit blind right now, a little bit unaware as to what is going on. As the probe moves up into the natural, and there's a Marine in the bunker, which is well positioned to obviously turn that probe around. So the probe is limited on info as well. But this is also Trap's first scout, so now Trap knows exactly what's up. He's just going to pull away to the side. Now, it's going to be Blink, so it's not going to be like hidden DTs, which is what I would have wanted to call originally. Anytime someone hides a Twilight Council, it's going to be a hidden Blink. Now, there's the Robo, so I imagine this has to be a 4-gate Blink. And what I would imagine is that if this is going to be a 4-gate Blink, then the whole idea is you're trying to fake MARU out a little bit, right? So he doesn't expect the Blink, he doesn't set up as he maybe should. Once MARU gets in here and looks to scout, and he's going to realize something is off, but do you expect Blink from that? Again, I personally don't think I really would necessarily go there right away, as this Hellion gets in, it's going to see the Robo timing. I mean, maybe you have to think of it as a possibility, but it's so uncommon just to proxy Blink. As the Stalker comes around, Hellion will be shot down, and now the Reaper comes in just to try and go finish off that probe, and he'll get it. There's another probe that's low on the gas, but now that probe jumps back into the gas, so it's untouchable. Alright, 2 extra gates coming in. Are we going to see one more once this Reaper goes down? Or are we just going to be happy on 3? Looks like we're going to be happy on 3 gateways. And there's a Robo Bay as well. This is so interesting then. Trap goes just Blink in the top left. It almost makes me believe like he got scouted and he's like, right, I'm just going to get an upgrade off this and I'm done. It's very, very off. And now he's going to go Robo Bay. I mean, again, I guess the thing is just hide that it's Blink and maybe that catches MARU off guard. MARU flies in with the 2 Widow Mines and they are going to burrow up and probes. Well, a couple of them get blown up. Can he save the Widow Mines? No, he was being very cautious with the medevac. And now he knows it's Blink as well, so the whole proxy thing didn't really do all that much. This one Widow Mine is trying to get away. A valiant effort. Got all the way out of the natural, but he gets caught just as he's tasting freedom. Meanwhile, a Raven on the way from MARU, and I think that's smart as well. It's like, Twilight Council's not in the main base. You definitely think there's something off here. It could absolutely have been a Dark Shrine, right? You know, in the end, yes, it is Blink at a regular time, but it could have been a Dark Shrine and a later Blink or something along those lines. As Trap brings units back down to the bottom left-hand side. Got a Colossus that's Chrono Boosting out the extended Thermal Lance on the Robo Bay. And the Nexus here on the 12 o'clock just continuing to build up, a few Stalkers and the Adept pulling away. And we're just going to be seeing the... Well, I mean, all the bio upgrades coming into play. So we're going to be seeing this 3-rack style. Obviously, really gives you a lot of power. I like it quite a lot, but it is up against a 5-minute third base. And that third base timing is quite important to take note of. Because that third base timing, if it's 4 minutes, something like a 3-rack can be extremely dangerous, right? You know, you've got a lot of pressure. A 5-minute third comes after tech, so Colossus are on the way. You should generally, typically have enough to start holding this third base, and you're a lot safer. It's a lot less difficult to make this defense happen. It's not that it's going to be easy. This is going to be bio hit and its power spike of all those upgrades. And there is a Raven in play as well, and we know exactly what that Raven can do. It can go straight up, Interference Matrix to Colossus, and then the next thing you know, boom, there is just nothing there defensively from Trap any longer. So, definitely a possibility. As we do see our Bio Army heading across to the upper right-hand side. So making its way through to the top as our charge sets up from Trap in the main base, in the top left-hand side. Sorry, I was about to do my spiel of, oh, in the main base. Autopilot mode, catch me off guard. Bio Army about to arrive then. Let's see how this looks. A few sentries to force field. I don't know if they're there for the force field, really. He puts, okay, good force fields. He actually cuts the army in half. Oh, I love this drop, though. Because you know this is just going to be completely out of position. The Raven even stays alive. Now Trap's completely out of position because he ran off to that left-hand side. He didn't, like, pull back to his main base right away. No recall energy here. There goes the Robo facility. The super battery sets up, a couple Widow Mines will get active, and MARU is just going to leave. And he didn't really lose much. He didn't lose much over here. The Raven stayed alive. His Medivacs didn't lose that many units, and he kills the Robo to slow down further Colossus production. Now this Raven only really needs to get one more Matrix off, and the next fight is going to be one Colossus to try and defend, and that spells a lot of trouble here for Trap. I don't think you necessarily really at all defend that, honestly. If I'm going to be quite honest. It feels difficult. 2 drops into the main base as well. I love that. I mean, look how many units are here. Even if those drops don't go off, it means that these Colossi are extremely vulnerable over here. MARU nearly loses a Medivac. He does. The Stalkers get the connection in. Okay, well, it's a bit of a shame because now you're going to be dropping 4 Medivacs instead of 5. The Raven is still out here too. I mean, this Raven has to be super careful. If these Stalkers even look at that Raven, it's going to drop out of the sky dead. It's, it does not have much HP on it in the slightest. What is he really hoping? Is he just going to suicide bomb in here and just say, I don't care about your Stalker count? He's kind of waiting. Back at home, 3rd CC is on the way up. I mean, he's waiting, but now double Robo's back, so Colossus production resumes. We see the Dark Shrine as well at the same time, so Trap preparing for the later stages of the game. And yeah, in the end, MARU doesn't find an opportunity. I mean, maybe the opportunity was, all these Stalkers were here. Maybe the opportunity was to bring that one drop over to the other bio units and then just go for that major push and try and hit the third while everything was, set up in the main base to deny another drop. Obviously, MARU doesn't find that chance, though, and there is the... How? How did this Raven put an auto turret down? Oh, my God. I swear this Raven just pooped out an auto turret because it died. Like, it's like... In its act of death, it was left an auto turret. I don't believe you dropped that. That was crazy. All right, auto turret gets down. There are some SCVs going down. Zealots across the map. Probes are going down with this little drop over here, and there's a couple more. Another Widow Mine connects. Now the Medivac's going to go top left, drawing the army out of position for this army to come on in. Straight through. Cannon goes down, and he's going to go and get this Nexus. Trap is just so out of position to deal with this, and these few units are even going to get away to the top corner. Super Battery comes down, but instantly targeted. Now MARU is just going to split up and fight. He's going to chase on forward. These Stalkers going down. A lot of probes taking damage. Disruptor to save the day? Question mark? Answer is no. 19 workers down. And even if these Stalkers blink in and clean up the rest of this, MARU is going to have plenty at home to deal with a follow-up attack, which is basically what you've got to go for right now. This drop comes back in top left, so you can't defend here. Yeah, I mean, this is all in from Trap. Let's see if he can make something happen. As he does clean up a lot, the army supplies are relatively close. There's a slight upgrade lead for MARU in that armor upgrade, which isn't here from Trap. Neither of them have their +2 attack just yet. MARU knows he just has to survive, so he'll use the SCVs to tank, but the Colossi are doing a lot here. So a lot of work is going down right now, and MARU can't quite hold. He has to fall back to the natural expansion. Work is dead, and maybe, just maybe, Trap can make this work. Of course, he still doesn't have a third base, remember, so that's still a major problem. As MARU going to buy some extra time. He's going to pull SCVs in again. He's going to look for this fight as Colossi doing a lot, especially as you get up to that ramp. Some Widow Mines burrowing up here. I think he just scanned the observers. I'm not sure where they are. Widow Mines over here again for the pros. Next, anything else going down over here. As this Bio Army continues, this turns into just a big old drop, and now we're going to see this Bio is going to drop in the natural. Try and stop any potential further warpings from coming in from Trap. Anything right now is a help. Oh, wow, we're just going to straight up fly across the map and base trade. Here we go, then. Full-on base trade mode. MARU's already flying this orbital up the left-hand side. He's had a good head start on this base trade scenario. He's just going to drop on top Colossus and the Disruptor, right? So they are going to die. They're not going to do much else defensively. He even brought the SCVs along. Why not, I suppose. He does have this one orbital that's still escaping up the left-hand side. Trap's probes. He does have a few of them down the right. Okay, I mean, Trap's making this happen. Oh, Trap's going to recall into the main. MARU's going to leave. Well, you lose a couple of medevacs here as well, so MARU's losing out. Now, he still has one orbital alive. Trap has this Nexus alive, which is mining a slight amount. Really not very much. They do have a Dark Shrine still in play, by the way. If Trap can get unsupply blocked and warp in a DT or two, it's problematic. I mean, MARU's army is just problematic, in fact. But as Trap actually made this work out, those Colossi just were not answered, and when they got across the map into those choke points, they just murdered things. And well, now MARU's trying to fight with his army on half HP. Sentries are good for the force fields, and I actually just think this is it. MARU's just going to die. Trap has too much coming through the center, and MARU just, I mean, he's just losing units every time he tries to turn around a fight. He's never getting a chance to heal his units up to full. Wow. That's GG. Trap takes game number 1. That was not what I was expecting there. This felt like MARU really... I don't know if I want to say dominated, but like he really played Trap every part of the way, and Trap just won the game on 0 preparation for that one all-in counter attack. What a turnaround by Trap when everything, he was completely back up against the wall, had no other option, and his one opportunity made it work, and he's able to steal that first map away from MARU to take game 1 in this best of 5. What a fantastic way to start a best of 5 series. What a game. All right, in the bottom right-hand side, our Red Terran player who is down a map is going to be in the red. It's MARU. And I'll just answer this because someone's going to ask it at some point. Why, Wardy, when you mouse over MARU, does it say Team NV? Did he leave Jin Air? No, he did not. I feel like I explained this a lot, so sorry if it's already something you've heard, but someone will not have heard it. Basically, clan culture is a big thing in Korea, and a lot of the time the in-game clan tags that people use are their clans rather than their teams. Team NV is a little bit confusing because they also have a pro team, but they also like a clan community. So MARU is just representing their clan, and sometimes they have like fun clan matches and stuff like this. But it's not an official team in any sense. A lot of the Jin Air guys are on the Team NV clan. As Trap is our blue Protoss player on the top left-hand side, already walling against potential Hellion run-bys. Not in the NV clan. Probably one of the only Jin Air players that isn't. I know Creator is, and I think SOS is as well. Not sure about Rogue, not sure about Trap. But there's a bunch of clans basically, yeah. Another one of the famous ones, Into the Clan. And that's one that teams up with Alpha X to help run a whole bunch of events. We just casted yesterday. The replays we casted yesterday were into the Alpha X replays or so. So, yeah, clan culture is a pretty big thing in Korea. So, if you're ever wondering, that's probably why. Some fun facts to get us through the first minute and a half of not a lot happening, right? I mean, Cybercore into Nexus. Probe moving around the front. Reaper is going to be popping out and heading across the map in a few moments' time. So, the way this Reaper goes, up to the top left. So Reaper's going to be off and away. The Nexus is about halfway done. Shield battery is coming in from Trap in the main base as well. Just going to be seeing the probe. Coming through is going to go and nibble this SCV. Bunker is going to drop down on the front lines. So Marine able to pick off that probe right there. So probe gets taken down. A couple of workers killed at this point as Maru turns back around down to the bottom right-hand side. Stargate is on the way up as the Adept continues forward, and this Marine is going to go down. And now we're going to see another SCV or two falling as well. This is becoming a bit of a problem, as this Adept is going to get one more Marine. This SCV can jump in the bunker to defend itself. So yeah, this is... At least you don't lose any more SCVs. Would it have been better to lose the Adept and get another SCV or so? Well, you could argue that. I mean, the big thing here is this Adept's going to chase, does not get the Reaper shot, and now one of the Adepts goes down. That would have been big, killing off the Reaper. Now this one Adept probably can't do anything else to delay this command center. Nice grenade, pops it away. CC finishes. SCV gets into the bunker. Wow. Wow. All right, that's a big play. Getting the CC finish up, because that does save you some extra seconds, right? If this SCV dies, the one in the bunker can't get out. It's another few seconds to pull one down from the main base, so... yeah, that Reaper grenade was pretty sick. Actually did buy him some extra time. As Trap off the Stargate is going to go straight up into Phoenix. Now, this is great defensively. This really shuts down a lot of the aggression that will come out of an expansion into aggression. There is definitely a world where you have... I think sometimes Phoenix play is not the be-all and end-all, because there are some attacks that come off like Iraq's factory before the expansion, and those attacks Phoenix do not deal with very well because you just don't have enough Phoenix in time. But here we're going to be on 3 Phoenix before anything really gets across the map, and 3 Phoenix can lift up, even if you just lift up one of the Hellions, then there's only 2 Hellions, you lose 1 shot potential. You can lift up all of the Hellions, and you can get your gateway units in position, then drop them down. There are absolutely ways to just minimize so much of the damage at this point. As you see, our medevac going to go and fly away to the upper left-hand side. The couple of Phoenix, the 3 Phoenix, actually going to be out of position, though. So this Hellion drop is going to come in, and Trap's going to be not at home with the units that are meant to be oh so good at defending. So here we go. Hellions go into the mineral line. First couple of probes go down. These ones are stacking as they try to get away. Shield battery forces them to stack up. There's the lift, and again, 1 lift with a shield battery. 2 Hellions will not get any further damage done at that point. 6 probes, not bad at all, and you force a recall, and this Phoenix energy is being used on Hellions. I think this is overall a win, because it's 6 probes, but it also probably saves you from losing like 4 or 5 SCVs because of what the Phoenix had to lift up over here. You know, the fact that Phoenix had to be back over there, so they're not over here dealing damage. Now you can get missile turrets up, a Cyclone. Yeah, I like it. I think that's a cool play from Maru, and it definitely works out. And I love this Raven sneaking around the map, because he knows these Phoenix are coming across to try and make up for a couple of those workers. So if you know that, boom, get that Raven across the map. The Phoenix are not going to find it, and now it's going to be able to get some auto turrets down and be very annoying. Oh, Marine's nearly catching the Phoenix there. As I like the coverage as well. Missile turret in the production line just to help out, right? Just extra damage in case the Phoenix dives something that spawns. Yeah, that's also a nice little touch. I like it's like that little addition that you don't necessarily think always goes a long way, but actually pretty useful. Cyclone lock on. Nelly got the Phoenix. Not quite in the end. Is now pushing away up the right side. We'll see a couple of SCVs being shot down. And Colossus extended thermal lens on the way up. So we're going to see Traps follow up here. Phoenix into Colossus. I mean, we've seen this all before. And the big benefit of this is then you go into Twilight Council and you don't necessarily need Stalkers with Blink to defend those Colossi a little bit extra. Yeah, or to help with drop defense and mobility. You can actually go into the charge pretty quickly, so that helps you against a lot of the aggressive attacks. The Raven's been trying to find a way out. I feel like the main base might not have been such a bad option to just go in and kill off a... well, I guess there's a shield battery here, so he feels like it wouldn't do anything. So maybe he was right to come back into the natural. Probably was the best decision. That's smart thinking, actually. The shield battery here would not allow the Raven to get any kills. The Raven knew it was going to go down. He's just trying to figure out the best place to go. But he faked going to the main to try and maybe pull units out of position. At least maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. He just clicked there. He's like, oh, wait, and he turned back around. Whatever. You know, sometimes you got to, you know, it's hard to know sometimes what's a move of brilliance and what is a move of, you know, just a little bit of a derp in the moment, you know. As combat shields and concussive shells comes in. We're already on Stimmin +1, so the Bio Army's pretty powered up at the moment. We are rocking a whole bunch of Bio in these barracks. A couple of Vikings on the way out. Siege tanks going to be popping out soon. These Phoenix just flying up around the top of the map as well. And a Combat Shield and Concussor Shell upgrade continuing in on the racks too. A lot of stuff building up here as our Marines are adventuring around. We've got Charging +1 on the way from Trap in the main base, and again, these Phoenix just going to patrol off to the side. A few Marines going to back away and lead the charge to kind of go, go, go. Maru's on 2 bases, and it's time for his first big pushes. All of his bio upgrades are going to be here. He's starting Vikings behind this already. That kind of makes me feel like when you go Vikings off just 2 medevacs, that makes me feel like this is committed 2 bases, right? Like, you are wanting to try and end this game. Like, yeah, okay, you're up against Phoenix Colossus, so the Vikings are nice, but a lot of the time you just go more medevacs and then build into Vikings later. To me, this really is a bit more suggestive of being that little bit more kind of ending the game right now sort of mindset. Stems in, going to start chasing. Force fields are very important here. Those force fields are not good. They came in behind the army, so Maru's just going to keep on pushing through. They did not buy Trap any extra time. Trying to find a shield battery for this Colossus. It gets away. 1 HP Colossus survives, but the position is given up. And these tanks are set up in range of the natural. Going to slowly whale away at that. Yeah, and I mean, now these SCVs are going to start setting up bunkers. And the only downside is you can see these 2 medevacs have their work cut out for them. Trying to heal up this army. Obviously, that's not going great. The Phoenix is going to try and find a way around. The Phoenix want to get in behind this army to lift the tanks ahead of the fight. Because if the tanks aren't lifted, then quite frankly, these tanks are going to target fire down Colossus. Well, anything really, but mostly Colossus. And then Colossi go down, you don't have the splash damage. Maru got himself into a fantastic position there. Trap gave up a little bit too much space. The force field didn't buy him time, and everything fell apart. What he really needed was like a set of force fields like here, 1, 2, 3. And then that buys him a few extra seconds, and he can set up maybe more damage done. He needed to chip away at this army more before he let it just walk up, siege up, bunkers down. Yeah, GG's. Nice play from Maru. Nice and aggressive, straight up the center. Knew when he could move out to kill, and he does just that. He killed. In the top right-hand side, our Red Terran player is Maru, who looked very deadly in that game number 2. And honestly, with how game 1 went, I know it's not a 2-0 right now. It's 1-1, but like it feels like it could be a 2-0, right? Maru played so well in the first 10 minutes of that game, and the last 2 minutes, everything fell apart. But he's looking dangerous early in this game, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And I will always say, I think when someone's looking dangerous like that early in the game, it's a problem, because if they can keep that up every game, sometimes they're just going to win. You need to find a way to shut that down as Trap. Like, the first game, he got away with it. He was able to deflect the pressure. He was able to somehow survive and make something happen of it. Game 2, he couldn't. You need to be able to get into those later stages without being behind. And right now, Trap, our Blue Protoss bottom left, kind of feels like he's going to be going into the later stages behind, unless that, those mid games start going a little bit differently. Probe moves up to the top left-hand side. Gonna get into see what's going on. Just nibble away at this probe. Oh, this SCV, sorry. A couple of other SCVs pull in, of course. Very standard stuff. Probe obviously wants to scout that there's not a full wall off. Wants to scout there is going to be an expansion. Check the barracks is at home. And a few different things to pick up on early when you're playing in this PvT matchup, as now Probe will move down. SCV is going to come and fight against this. The Probe taking quite a bit of damage so far. Manson drops into the natural, and we do have our Cybercore coming in, interestingly enough, after the Nexus. This was Gate Nexus Core. We don't see Gate Nexus Core all that much anymore. So much in PvT, it's Gate, Core, Nexus, early unit out, get it across the map, all of that pressure. Obviously this time, not the case, as our SCV moves its way up to the top. A Reaper is going to be heading down to the bottom left-hand side of the map as well. And there is Warp Gate on the way in from Trap. So, bringing the Warp Gate up into play here. The Adept Chrono boosting out. Twilight Council is going to start in the back lines here as well. As the Reaper hops up into the main base and is going to come through. Probe taking a bit of damage. The other Probe taking some shots as well. And the Adept is going to chase down this Reaper as it escapes out away into the center of the map. Twilight Council is coming up to being completed. Stalker, Chrono boosting out here from Trap as well, so bringing this out. Again, the Reaper just going to go adventuring off over to this right-hand side as our starport drops down into play. Reactor finishes on the racks, command center on the natural is done. We're just going to be seeing our orbital building on the natural. So a lot of setup right now as our blink continues through. So blink continuing up, and the probe is going to be shot down. So our probe will fall. And, yeah, as you see, a starport coming up, the factory getting the tech lab. Feels pretty good so far. Just gonna see this blink still chrono boosting away, and robo facility of the gateway popping into play. Reaper Hellion are gonna go and, make their way up here. The Adept comes, fires a shot, fires a second. Reaper taking a lot of damage. The Adept will continue in. Reaper goes down. Obviously, this is all about scouting right now as MARU makes his way through. Ooh, doesn't get the 2 probes. Nice shutdown there. I love that he's going Cloak Banshees, though. It really changes the pacing of the series up a bit. You know, so much has been kind of, okay, initial kind of Reaper Hellion or initial Reaper Hellion drop, Widow Mine drop, whatever. And then you just kind of move on. But this time, it's a little Reaper Hellion into the Banshee. That's a little bit different. Definitely keeps Trap guessing a little bit as to what exactly is coming up. He's placed 3 gateways and now prepares to take a fairly early third base. This is going to be about, what, 4:30 if this probe was actually going to stay over there. Instead, it's going to walk back. And he's now going to go Robo Bay before he takes the third base. So, yeah, it's still going to be around 4:30 for the third. It does have that Robo Bay up before, so it is that quick movement into Colossus. Again, how much does that help with the Banshees? Well, this Observer is the real king against the Banshees, and it's on its way across the map. The good news is the Banshees are stacking up together, so you're waiting to go 2 Banshees at once. And this means this Observer has a really good chance of figuring that out before these Banshees arrive, and that should give Trap a lot of preparation time. This is obviously a risk for MARU. The only good thing is if he's watching for this Observer and he can scan this Observer down, this could be his denial. That would be so, so good for him. He's watching, he's looking at those Marines. Observer's going to try and come around a different direction. Observer is going to go around the side. He's actually going to walk into the Banshees. Well, he cuts back in. He sees the Banshees. So he does get that scout. The Marines here are not able to catch the Observer. And, well, now you kind of know what's up. Now, Stalkers go out onto the map. The other thing is, though, obviously, more Observers is going to cost you more Robo build time. So by having to build more Observers, you're kind of delaying Colossus. So we'll see if he actually has a second one out. It's pulling back home to the main, but is 1 Observer enough still? Not necessarily. You think it might be, but actually, it's kind of funny. Is this the other Observer recall? I think it is. Yeah, he brings the other Observer back home because he doesn't necessarily know if these Banshees cut across and go a different way. And now there's much less chasing to be done. You can pretty much trap these Banshees in vision, although this first Observer misses. Scans the natural. I mean, he's going to get in here. These Banshees are going to do some real damage. Wow, so after Trap was so good at figuring out what was going on, seeing what was happening, he finds 6, and now he goes to the third base. Well, this Observer's still here. That's the power of the recall now. That will come into play. As, yeah, 1 Banshee down, the other one stuck in the corner. We'll see if that can come back into play at any point. MARU has a 3rd CC behind it this time around, so this time it's not going to be that big kind of bio-stim combat shield push. There's going to be a move to take the third base. I don't think you want to get too aggressive here with Marine Tank, do you? I know you've got the Raven and so on, but I'm pretty sure you just want to take this third base, settle it down. There's no reason to go pushing when you've got bio upgrades on the way and a 3rd CC readying up. There's just nothing to really gain from that at 6:30 in the game. Like 4 or 5 minutes in the game, yes. 6:30 in the game, absolutely not. It's way too far gone. We're going to be talking about what, like, you know, this is Colossus number 2 already on the way out, so you'd be up against 2 units which deal major splash damage. Yeah. Defensively, it's fine, because defensively, if these Colossi walk forward, you've got tanks that can target fire them down. So obviously, that's a big part of it. As we're going to be seeing the units coming around the right side. Tank fire onto the first group of Stalkers here. Colossus done some damage in. The Raven doesn't do anything. He will lose a siege tank. Okay, well, first tank obviously wasn't backed up by the other couple, so does take some damage. Gonna see 1-1, Stimpack, Combat Shield, all the good stuff setting up right now as our Banshee sits down on the 6 o'clock. Everything gathering up from Trap at the moment, as we'll see our fourth Nexus coming in from Trap on the left-hand side. Just going to be seeing the army coming out up the left. Just going to be seeing the army from MARU. Trying to just catch and see where Trap may be at. There's no sentries here that are right in the front, so it's not super scary. He blinks for a medevac, doesn't quite get it. With Prism Speed on the way up, we'll see what Trap wants to do with that. Prism Speed obviously opens up potential of like dropping Colossi and stuff and being a bit crazy there. It also just opens the potential of just having a faster Prism. You can dart past missile turrets more easily and get into the main base to drop and warp in. I don't think he's going to do that there. Much easier to just be like, oh no, missile turrets, do, and then end up here. It's like a lot of missile turrets. That's almost like a, you don't move command your Prism in and not check on it, but if you do check on it, you're still going to find the way in, right? It's a fun little build. Yeah, warp Prism Speed, obviously, just even if you have to recall the Prism, it gets it back across the map faster, right? And maybe you can pull it back from harassing into, you know, microing the army a little bit more quickly, right? That's another benefit to look at as well. And there's a couple of extra results coming up. Bio's going to stim up here. I'm not sure what he thinks is there. There's an Adept, actually, but he missed that for a moment or two. Takes it down now. Viking's going to take down the hallucination. Just going to be seeing Trap still. Wandering down the bottom side here. A few extra Zelds will warp in. Another Ghost going to be popping out. A couple of Vikings, more Marines, because of shells. All of this coming into play at the moment is going to be seeing the +1 armor, +1 attack, continuing to set up. The Banshee down in the bottom side. We're going to see a couple of Marines around the right. They're going to continue to back away as well. There's a couple of Ghosts coming through. These extra barracks on the way in from MARU. Trap is just going to get the left-hand side 9 o'clock setup as well. So as the 5th base finishes, it starts base 6. Trap is really just saying, you know what, if I basically take a base in every direction, yeah, you can deny one, but I'll have another to go to. It basically stops MARU from just walking around with this kind of, should we call it a death ball of Terran when you've got like tanks and ghosts and this can just obliterate a larger army? It forces MARU to split up a bit more. And actually, that's not a bad thing for the Protoss player at this stage. Because again, he doesn't need to defend necessarily both sides immediately. So you can really jump on one side where he's a little bit more powered up, maybe win that fight, and then recall across to fight the other side. Because again, if you sacrifice this base or this base, it's not until the army gets to this base or this base that you really have to defend, as long as you hold one of the left or right kind of external bases. So this Trap is staying on the aggressive front. We're seeing him preparing for the later stages too. There are Zelds about to run in here. Prism gets into the main. Suddenly MARU has to defend multiple locations, but the tank fire here is really good defensively. As the Zelds in the main base is going to cause the biggest problem. As this Prism will go down, Vikings will get rid of it. Triple, quadruple auto turret to try and fight off Zealots. Problem is, Zealots don't do that much, auto turrets don't do that much damage, so the Zealots are going to be able to, well, they set the Ghost Academy on fire. They probably could have gotten it. Instead, they turn around and start working on these missile turrets on the corner. Now SCVs will save the Ghost Academy. Only gets one missile turret. He should have just gone for the Ghost Academy. He would have maybe died a little faster, but I think you actually get the Ghost Academy, which is nice because then at least it's gas that has to be rebuilt, and you have to rebuild that if you then want Ghosts, right? Which is pretty much a given. Bench in the bottom side. Again, bases out on the extremities. Let's see a few of these Zelds around the right as Bio, Ghost, Medevac, Viking. I still like what MARU has. It's just Trap is progressing through the stages of the game. And now MARU goes Starport, Extra Fusion Core. Maybe we're going to see a little bit more from him. But Trap, as I was just saying, progressing through the stages of the game. Extra Stargate's already down. Now the Fleet Beacon is here. So we really are moving into a point where we're talking about Tempest, maybe even Carriers. We're talking about Blink DTs being on the map, so that harassment potential for the Protoss player goes up tenfold. I mean, this is an extremely scary phase of the game for Terrans. Now, there is a 5th command center building, but that's not there yet either. So you look at the income graph here, and it's like, ooh. You know, this is where obviously Trap attacks with the Prism, but in general, just he has the bases to take advantage of 86 probes, 67 SCVs. So far, the trades have been good for MARU, but they're going to have to stay like that in this sort of scenario as this Bio Army. It's a lot of units here. Kind of getting coy. He's going to bring the Ghost in for a couple of EMPs, and that will scare Trap away. Disruptor shot will not land. This bottom base was well protected. I love this Banshee still here, by the way. And 4 Stalkers just guarding it. This has been a thing all game long. Now, this Banshee's just not being allowed to leave. Maru's just like, well, I will leave my low supply unit here for 4 of your Stalkers. That's a supply advantage for Maru just from that Banshee play. And it's going to be straight at carriers. There isn't really need for Tempest yet, right? You know, it's not really like a lot of... it's not really like there's a lot of Liberators up or anything, so you can definitely get away with going carriers first here, I think. I think that makes perfect sense. As you're going to be having the rest of this from Trap, moving around the center. Obviously, both players are... I mean, Maru's set up really defensively, so I can completely understand why he isn't going to... why Trap isn't going to move forward into Maru. Maru moving forward into Trap, I think it is just this army is difficult to engage. So Maru would rather have a big setup behind this. Bases he can replace if DTs come in and snipe down bases, right? Maru's just happy to play this long-term game plan. He's happy to play this longer game, something that's going to last a while. Happy to play it slowly. He is in no rush to win this one out. And it's funny to me how much went down this game, because it's mostly just Zealots from Trap. So you actually look at resource loss and you're like, oh, look at Maru go. But actually, it's just 30 Zealots. The only gas he's lost in the game is 2 Observers, an Adept, and 4 Stalkers, which is really not that much. Not like Maru has lost a ton of tech himself, 1 tank, 5 Marauders, but, you know, it's something to keep in mind. This is actually an interesting blink, because the tanks were there to help out, and the tank fire was really good. Helps a lot, and now he EMPs this Archon. Gets that kill as well. Scans the Observer. These last 2 Marines are heroes. That was actually really great. Killing off so many of the DTs there. Those are expensive. That's where you're going to find your efficiency later on in this game now. Is, oh, the Banshee goes down. It's where you find your efficiency later on in this game, because with that kind of DT play, it's super expensive. If the Terran can take fights like that against it, it makes up for the denial of bases and your slower mining and your slower setup into the bigger macro-focused game. Disruptor shots fire forward. Gonna be able to get rid of this siege tank as well. Trap gonna take a Nexus in the top left-hand side. Maru will not let that happen. I think one of the important things here for Maru is that this does stay on equal bases, right? So Trap basically has all of his base for this entire game. And Maru has 5 out of 6. So maybe part of Maru's plan may just be to really just trade out until super late game and just keep trading efficiently because he's playing defensively. Now, the carriers should have something to say about that. It's kind of interesting. This is only a 6-base map. Like, I feel like Oxide never really gets this kind of split map, can't kill you kind of position. But when you talk about it only being 6 bases, this would be like a Zerg's worst nightmare. Like, you just can't get to the stage of the game where you win out late game as Zerg because you run out of money too quickly with 6 bases. You kind of need 7. With Protoss? Well, honestly, with Protoss, I'm not even too sure. Like, if the way that Trap's trading right now, yes, it would probably be a problem. He is going to try and get that top left base again. I think that's obviously really important for Maru to deny that top left base. You cannot let him take one of your bases. And this is obviously great as well, denying this base over here. And DT will defend this position, but at least Maru knows it's on the way up yet again. And Maru kills this off. He's now going to get cornered in a little bit, though. This is interesting because the Disruptors will keep him pinned in the corner. Unless he can bring the medevac drops up the right side, he actually is allowed to leave, basically. Yeah, but here come the carriers. We haven't really talked about how they're going to look in a fight just yet, have we? First Interceptors fly forward. Tank goes down. The Vikings actually get forward for carrier kill right away. It was a good first EMP to open up the damage there. The Trap is solidifying in the top left-hand side. I mean, that makes a really interesting standoff between this base and this base. Well, Trap's kind of bringing the fight over in this direction. I don't necessarily know if he wants to do that, because if he loses it, he then loses that potential top left. And now he's losing the bottom side of the map as well as Maru counterattacks as Trap moves in. Now, this is really bad for Trap. I mean, he's got a good bank for the moment, but stuff like having to rebuild probes when you've already not traded efficiently, that's expensive. I mean, 20 probes, that's 1,000 minerals. And again, minerals aren't the big problem just yet, but something else to keep in mind moving later into the game. An 8,000 resource loss difference. Marines are going to say, hello, carriers. Thank you very much. We'll take one of you down. Okay. Wow. Not every day you see Marines just stimming in and finding a carrier kill. Oh, I love this as well. The tank from the high ground can defend, basically, or deny mining. on at least half these mineral patches so you can slow down the progress of that base being mined. Give yourself some extra time. 3 more nukes in production. All of our carriers coming up. Traps move back across to this left-hand side. We see a few more stalkers being brought along with this. Army in the center catches an observer. These stalkers, the trap wanting to try and move around here a little bit. We got a ghost, but it gets caught by a DT. Tries to drop an EMP, misses. Alright, this game slows down a lot. I actually feel really good for MARU in this scenario, I think. The way he's denying these bottom right bases, I mean, that's huge. Like, yeah, no gain trap right now has a bank, but do you know how quickly that bank disappears? You know, 1800 gas seems like a lot until you realize just how much these freaking carriers are. They ain't cheap, man. Like, they're expensive. You gotta be really cautious about that. 1800 gas is just not a lot. And right now, you're not mining gas in 2 of the bases. Now I'm gonna nuke up. Obviously, your main and natural gas is mined out. This gas has, what, 1500 left in it? I mean, these bases up here are the more important ones. A few SCVs going to be sacrificed as Bio connects in here. This nuke will land. So SCV sacrificed. MARU just making space for more army. Denies the bottom right base again. And he's just going to keep nuking this position. He's actually cancelling so much of his production. So if a fight does happen, this potentially gets rid of that production. Then you can't rebuild. Love this random nuke middle of the map. Just going to be trying to catch a carrier army coming back across the left side. Ghost is even going to survive here as the DT gets caught. No blink away. Oh, sorry, another nuke in the natural as well went off. And again, making progress there. The Ghost now moves up into the main. I'm scared for that Ghost. I feel like he keeps standing in range of his own nukes. Of course, I'm all about MARU, but don't forget, if Trap can find one really, really good fight, this game can just end, right? Like, that is a possibility that the game just straight up ends. Because if you win a fight on this side of the map as Trap, MARU does not get to rebuild before you clean out everything. The problem is, obviously, fighting on this side of the map. There's missile turret walls. It's just not really a thing, right? It just isn't going to happen, in my eyes. But if it does happen, keep it in mind. As this time, the Ghost gets denied in the main base. And we have another one moving around already. Of course, this is also just a massive distraction. How can you ever focus on finding the right place to attack when every 20 seconds a nuke comes down that potentially could kill a mineral line if you aren't careful? These DTs have completely missed it. The observer wasn't there. He knows roughly where the nuke is. He just couldn't quite find the Ghost. It was on the right side. He's going to clean it out now. But a couple probes, again, attention being paid over there. Big EMP lands on the front line of this Protoss army as it moves up. We've got a ton of Vikings ready to come in for this fight. It's just going to be it. He's going to go for it. MARU wants to commit. There isn't really any splash damage to help against the Vikings, I've got to say. There's no storms or anything, and I would have expected a few of those to be in play. I mean, this wasn't even that much of a fight. I thought it was all hell going to break loose, but absolutely not. 14 workers down as a Liberator up here has a hell of a time. 16 kill Liberator. Oh my god. This was going on for a little while, wasn't it? As we do see everything from MARU. Still looking good. MARU's the one with the bank, guys. He's got 4k gas in the bank. Again, I bring up this resources loss tab. This is just unheard of in TvP. 13.6 to 22.6k difference. 9,000 resource difference? Like, are you kidding me? Well, Ghosts going to protect each other. They actually survive the Stalkers. Vikings catching a carrier middle of the map as well. There just isn't the right support for the carriers. You know, you look at this now. 7 carriers, 8 Stalkers, 7 Disruptors. There just isn't. You need Storm. You need a way to push those Vikings back more convincingly. You need a way to stop the mass error of the Terran player. And right now, this army just is not it. But Trap can't afford all the rest of that because he's gas starved. With 1,000 gas in the bank, he can't remax with that gas. And that is Trap's problem. I mean, part of the problem is the fact he never retook this space. He only really tried to retake this space. And even now, he isn't minding the gas over there. And that may be the craziest part of this to me. Like, why wouldn't he retake this space? You've got so much gas here. The assimilators are still up. Like, he never even tried. And the gas is the problem. That's why he starved out. I don't really get that decision from Trap. A couple of nukes going to try and line up on this army as we're going to see the Vikings going to start targeting down some carriers. The nuke for the moment is still good, looking as though it will land, but I mean, the Protoss army has backed away, so the nuke will be cancelled. MARU will not let it finish off. Bio in the bottom right. This base goes down again. This time all the probes will go down with it. I love this. The medevacs are like, we're out of here. This Bio army can go and fend for itself. Yeah, another couple of nukes just going to try and zone the Protoss, who only has 3 carriers now. You could argue the Disruptors are maybe scary as well, but yeah, a couple of nukes. Not going to land. MARU just going to cancel them. I mean, at least Trap's making some progress into these bases, but MARU's just like, well, you know what? Take down these bases. I've got the top left set up. This base is fresh. I've got the field of missile turrets over here. 32 missile turrets currently on the map. As we're going to be seeing a anti-arm missile dead center on the rest of this army. The Observer's just going to fly into missile turrets, so now you just lost all your detection in case you want to try and find ghosts more easily. There's actually been 30 turrets killed as well, so 62 turrets have been built this game. Like it's continuing through. Going to be seeing the carriers going down. I mean, this is just not a pretty fight at all. These Disruptors being shot down. A lot of Disruptors went down there, and MARU is obviously... He doesn't really have, like, the right army to fight Zealot Stalker on the ground just yet, but there's no other threat, so you'll just land the Vikings, and Trap has a 0 rebuild potential from this point, and MARU obviously has units pouring out to deal with this, and MARU will take Game 3, 2-1 lead for him, as he just settled down and said, I'm going to play the late game. From early on, he said, right, late game it is. Really stuck to that, really played it well. Trap took horrible fights and was pressured into making something happen. And every time he tried to make something happen, boom, counterattack. MARU kills those bases that were meant to be oh so vital for Trap. And Trap never really recovered from that. He never got those back online. He never recovered from the resource loss disadvantage. 20k resources lost difference at the end of this game. I mean, it was just brutal, right? I mean, you look at this game, only 56 Marines were lost in like a 23-minute game. That's just kind of, it just shows you how MARU played. He barely made any bio to die. Like, these are really low numbers for like a 24-minute game that featured bio prominently. And that just goes to show kind of how the game went. And because MARU didn't have to replace those Marines a lot of the time because they weren't dying in the first place. GG. MARU takes it 2-1, a lead in this best of 5. Top left-hand side, the red Terran player is MARU. He was taking the lead in the best of 5 series. Up 2-1 is in the bottom right. We do have the blue Protoss Trap, his teammate. Remember, this is a decider match of a group, so if you lose this, you're out of the tournament. So, this tournament life on the line from Trap. Needs to win 2 in a row to keep his run alive. See where this goes on Death Aura. So yeah, talking a lot about like base count, right? And this map is, you know, you get 4 bases up top, 5, 6, 7. And it's that 7th base that's really the defining feature compared to Oxide, which is 6 bases each. Because imagine if this last game plays out on Death Aura, right? MARU gets 4 bases, kind of easy, right? Protoss gets 4. Well, MARU's sitting back a lot. You can take 5. You maybe take this base as well, kind of like Trap did. Now here's the thing. MARU can maybe go to base number 5 over here. But to hold that base, he's got to really hold, like, here, right? This sort of area. And maybe that allows him to get base 6 here, but it really opens the left side of the map for Trap to take this base. And then Trap can maybe take, you know, go up to that extra base count and be on 6 or 7 very comfortably. And that just wasn't a thing on Oxide. And of course, you can see drops to deny that and all the rest. But at a base level of kind of how that last game played out, Trap just runs out of space to work with because MARU just defends the right side. Because defending the right side, he can go back to top left and take the final base later. You can't do that as much. You got to put yourself in more dangerous positions to take more bases here on Death Aura. Because you need more bases. You can't just let Trap take the map. And I think, you know, you go back to as well, and I think, I'm talking a lot about this, but a lot of it comes down to Trap not retaking the bottom right on Oxide, right? He didn't retake those bases that were denied. And maybe that would have given them the gas to take some better fights again and to tech up a bit more, replace a few units. It's a very interesting... I mean, you could probably write essays on 6 versus 7 bases on maps. And kind of the difference that makes. And obviously, every matchup plays out differently as well. It's very complex. It's very interesting. It's one of those complexities that makes StarCraft 2 so fun and entertaining to watch, right? You know, it's not just baseline boring, like, oh, yeah, everyone gets 5 bases each every time, and that's how we play. Like, a base count on a map really impacts kind of how you have to play. I think MARU is very smart to try and force a split map scenario when being ahead on resources lost on a 6 base map. Enough about the last game. Let's talk about this one. We do have an Adept coming across the map early. So back into that core before Nexus build. And it's a Stargate on the way from Trap as well. As this Adept is going to show up. The Reaper's out of position, so Adept will just go straight in, deny the SCV. Oh, one more shot, one more shot. Gets it. Command Center 71 over 71. It's completed, but it isn't. It just needs that magical final touch. You need to take down the scaffolding to be operational. There we go. Scaffolding removed, and you can morph into an orbital. That is going to shade in. Reaper gets caught. A couple of Widow Mines continuing out of the factory. Medevac building on the starport. And again, some stuff just rallying out the front here. So your Adepts are going to shade forward and toward the front. I kind of wanted to move up there, but the depot's raised. I mean, 2 Hellions already on the map, and it's going to be Widow Mine drops behind this. Do we see an armory as well, perhaps, from MARU? Get those Widow Mines cloaked up. Could be a fun follow-up. Doesn't look like it's the plan just yet. He has quite a lot of gas to spend, but that's obviously potential on the follow-up as well. Sally's going to sit at a distance, picking away at the Adept in the front line. And now we have got our 3 Widow Mines making their way out across down to the bottom right-hand side. Playing out down the bottom left. Blink is chrono boosting away the Widow Mines. Head down into the main base as the Oracle cleans up a Hellion over on the left-hand side. A couple of SCVs getting picked off here by these Adepts as well. 3 SCVs killed at the moment. Widow Mine connects on an Adept. It's a nice pick off as the Marine takes some damage. Widow Mine burrows up. Probe! One of them goes down. So 5 SCVs going down. Again, pretty serious damage over here with these Adepts. Yeah, 5 SCVs down. You've only killed 3 probes, and now you've got still 2 Widow Mines alive and 2 more coming, so there's definitely still some further potential. I mean, MARU is still reactoring out Widow Mines. He's just going to go Widow Mine, Widow Mine, Widow Mine here is Adepts. I mean, that first Widow Mine goes down, so does the second. Probe pull is caused, though, so at least you force some loss mining. Oracle here in the natural defend another Widow Mine drop. 4 Widow Mines. Gonna start boosting in. So they're gonna boost straight into this. Widow Mines get burrowed up. Probes are gonna blow up. 8 workers go down as this Medevac gets picked off, so the Medevac will fall. We have another Widow Mine that's gonna make its way across into this Medevac, and it's gonna try and go down into the main base as well. Stimpack, Marauder, Siege Tank, Rax. Finally getting the damage done here, MARU. Finally getting some proper probe kills, and he's going to put himself only 3 workers behind, plus whatever goes down here. Okay, so he's only 3 workers behind. There's a Terran with double orbital. That is fine. He's going to take a 3rd CC. This is the one thing I'm a little worried about, maybe this counter, but the counter is... I mean, there's a couple Marauders up. The Stalker count isn't exactly huge, right? And his first Siege Tank now out as well. Tank sieging, so these Stalkers will take some damage, and yeah, they're going to get pushed back. This is fine. I was a little bit worried, but obviously it's not a huge amount of Stalkers. You have been kept busy. He is going to get the Siege Tank, which is great. But now these Stalkers are pretty stuck in the back of this base. Where are they going to try and blink to? They're just not? Okay. At the same time, an Adept gets by. It's 5 SCVs killed, though, so it is still serious damage. Just costs you a lot of Stalkers. Yeah, usually I'm kind of worried about those attacks because obviously you've been building so many Widow Mines for so long in the game that you don't really have a lot of units to really fight against the gateway units. But in this case, MARU had the time to get up Marauders. He had a Siege Tank out, and the transition actually came in a while ago. He actually cut Widow Mines a while back, so this attack wasn't exactly hitting super quickly in comparison. Oracle up on the top. As you just have the army setting up in the main. Oracle hanging around. Combat shields coming up. Smart attack coming in. Concussive shells. Going to be seeing the Oracle turning back around. Temple Archives on the way up here from Trap in the third base. Just going to be seeing these few sentries. Heading up to the upper left. As the Revelation goes down, Bio Army getting caught. Stalkers are going to try and fight this. The tank in some trouble. I mean, this is amazing. You catch a siege tank. I know you're mostly switching into Widow Mines, but even that siege tank defensively, a couple of splash shots can change fights a lot of the time. As the Stalkers now back away. I'm going to be seeing the few extra High Templar coming through, the +1 attack upgrade coming in. The extra set of units just warping to put some pressure on. We're going to see this Prism coming across the map from Trap, so we'll look to get a little bit aggressive here. Armory is about to be done. The 3 extra barracks all built, and Storm is still coming through on the Templar Archives. As the first few Zealots try to drop down, the defense is pretty good from MARU. We have got Storm building up, so we really are going to have Trap is actually coming across the map. May even look to force a fight as Storm finishes. I mean, MARU's not going to have ghosts or anything to deal with that. Okay, he's going to back away a little bit. I mean, being aggressive with Storm is always kind of tough. I mean, obviously, you bring the High Templar across the map and the Prism, it's that much safer. Force field on that ramp, going to block the Bio from coming down the left-hand side. It's going to go running through, and this is going to be a couple of Vikings going to get on top of that Prism right away. Prism gets shot down. Just going to see the rest of this from Trap. Moving back up the left-hand side, there's a lot of Widow Mines, Bio. Moving down the center, a little bit of army from MARU in the corner. Widow Mine's going off as we do see the Bio wanting to kind of keep on pushing into this, just dealing with it. He's actually got a kind of flanking drop, which gets a few Stalkers. Trap kind of handling it well, though, because he actually turns around and hard chases this, so he isn't really caught between two armies. It's actually MARU that's caught kind of running away, and now this Immortal came in, helped with a couple of the Marauders. And the Medivacs continue out over that right-hand side. The rest of the Zealots up to the right, a command center on the top. Back down the right side. Widow Mine's going off, Viking going down, a few more Storms continue to come into play, and we're just going to see this High Templar continuing through, dropping some extra Storms all over this Bioforce. Trap finds his way up this round. Now MARU's in a bit of trouble. He's got to make his way out of this natural. There are still Storms available. He's going to take a lot of damage trying to get out here. The Widow Mines have been pretty good, but there's 2 Storms still left somehow. Zealots are in the third base mineral line as well, so SCVs have to pull away from that. This Immortal's just chunking down Marauders. 8 kills as SCVs are running. There is a final Widow Mine killed before it can fire. And it looks as though Trap just has the numbers to push on through to take this down. So let's continue to run on in. Just going to see Stalker, Archon, Immortal continue to push through into this natural. 24 SCVs are dead. GG is called, and Trap will tie it up 2-2. The Storm play was good. Just kind of picked MARU apart a little bit. I feel like, you know, with MARU trying to get a bit fancy, kind of wrapping around, and he got chased, and he lost a lot, and then he just wasn't really able to stabilize. And MARU also just didn't do anything since that early game. Widow Mine harass, which was great, but then he just didn't really connect on anything else. It became Trap's game. Trap bullied MARU into that position where the Storms were great, and Trap was able to clean it out, which puts us to a game number 5. Game number 5, deciding match. As in the bottom right, we do have the red Terran player. It is MARU. You just didn't really have an answer to Storms in that last map. Top left, our blue Protoss is Trap. As he starts up in the upper left-hand side. We've seen a gateway in the main base to get us started. A probe going to move down through the center of the map. Heading down that right-hand side. Music went quiet as I went quiet. Probe heading down the bottom right. I'm just going to be seeing the gateway and a barracks building up here from MARU. Scan those ready to go. SCV production is continuing and probe pulls in. Gets into a little scuffle with the SCV there. I'm just going to be seeing this probe trap going to go on a little wander around. Again, Nexus before core here on Romanticide. Game 5 of the series, everything on the line again. This is an elimination match, so the loser is out, the winner advances to the playoffs. And send it down in that natural as probe production continues. Assimilators coming through in the main base. Really just waiting to see what Tech Tree Trap decides to go down here. We've seen a little bit of a mix from him, some Blink, some Stargate. Stargate with Phoenix, Stargate with an Oracle. We've seen a good little mix of things here so far from Trap. This bunker is very annoying because the SCV can RNG to the other side and then the probe can't actually really deny it like you would like to. And Trap is even just going to give up trying to fight it. He just straight up says, cool, I'll go build my shield battery, get my probe back to mining. I'm just going to accept that this Reaper is going to show up and this bunker is going to be done. Reaper gets in, probe's taking damage. Stalker comes around to chase this Reaper away, so Reaper is chased out over through the top side of the map. Battery about to finish up. And again, bunker halfway done as our factory of MARU is going to be done in just a few moments. Reaper is not really being that annoying. I mean, now he's going to come down and... yeah, if he was in the bunker, these probes wouldn't mine from over here. They could mine from over here. He gives that bunker up pretty easily, so it doesn't really commit through to it or anything. As you see, reactive marine still, the single Hellion, we'll see if that develops into anything further. As we have got the starport set up in the main base as well, so that's coming through right now as our Reaper will continue to the upper left-hand side. Another Stalker showing up from the left, and we're going to keep pushing that Reaper back through the top. Twilight Council is going to be coming in on the main base. And the Robo Facility starting up on the natural. Blink continuing in the main. Going to Chrono Boost that Twilight Council. Get that Blink up and running nice and quickly. The Robo to follow 2 extra gates. I mean, we've seen the 2 extra gates in the Robo a lot this series from Trap, actually. It's probably been his most commonly used setup. Important to note it was extra Hellions from MARU, so we're going to be seeing a Hellion drop in the next few moments. Now, Hellion drop or Marine drop with a Hellion run by. Could be either or. I feel like it's going to be a Hellion drop, otherwise the Hellions would not still be here. Oh, it's going to be Hellions and 2 Marines. So we are going to have a couple... oh, no, but it's not going to be 2 Marines. He doesn't want them. They got on the flight. They had the wrong flight tickets. They got on the wrong plane. You guys will have to go on the next one. Sorry. This one is Destination Protoss main base. As across the map we go. 3 Hellions, 2 medevacs, 1 medevac. Sorry, I don't know why I'm saying 2 medevacs. Just the one. That Nexus coming up. He's going to just unload for this probe. I mean, he kind of reveals the medevac now. Stalkers do get the medevac pretty quickly. I mean, 3 Hellions still get in. 2 probes. Going to get to 6 probes. This is good. That's 7. That's okay. Always feels like it could be worse, right? 7 probes is good. It puts MARU onto a worker lead. It is an early trade out of units for him, but it looks like he has plenty at home to defend. I don't see a counterattack being a major problem. And that's one of the biggest things. You've got a tank up. This is a massive main base, by the way. This one tank doesn't usually cover everything. This is probably the best position you can get. It's scary because if the Stalkers blink from here up, they can probably kill it very quickly. If the Stalkers try and play this side, they shouldn't be able to get anywhere. Maybe they can hit the refinery. We'll see what the approach will be. Oh, he's got the Observer kill in his sights. He gets it. Stalkers blink forward, but they won't save the day. And now there's a bunker on the natural that should just be repairable, so you shouldn't lose this. As MARU Only pulls 2 SCVs. For now, it's okay. It's still okay. Okay, MARU just knows exactly how much he needs. Reaper gets up into the main. Will maybe hunt for a probe or two. Sees the charge upgrade will be on the way as well. Sees the forge. Most importantly, does not see any sort of a robo bay or anything, right? So you know it's not a Colossus follow-up. You can probably read into the fact this is 3 gas. A lot of gateways going to be coming down, and this is going to be focused around Stalker charge lot for the next few minutes. There's the Temple Archive, so that will be the tech up. Now gas is being taken. It's still going to be like Zealot Stalker focused though, right? With that Templar Archives being the supporting structure eventually. I mean, you can add a couple Archons in from there. Obviously, you can also go Storm from that point. Something that Trap did in that last game. So let's see. This is just going to be having the Assimilator finishing up. Temple Archives will be done in a moment. Charge is coming through. +1 attack is on the Forge. A lot of missile turrets on that side. Wants to deny the Prism players. Stalkers make the play for the Siege Tank. Again, they've got an eternity to run away in this main base. And then, of course, can blink out. Might even get a turret on the exit. They don't, but they got the SCV. So it's still a good bonus. Stalkers. Don't commit in just yet. Getting a few Marines. Quite nice to get that damage done. Gonna get a Marauder as well. So Marauder now going down too. TV is just going to repair up a siege tank and get back to mining on the 3rd base. A few depots along the left-hand side. Temple Archives researching Storm. +1 attack on the Forge. The extra pylons continuing up. We do have Stalkers continuing to move down the bottom. A 4th Nexus builds on the top side. It's an SCV, as the tank is good to push the Stalkers back, and 1-1 upgrades are marching across the map in the form of this bio army, and it's got to be a bit scary for Trap. You're on 0-0. What are you really playing with here? High Templar in the Storm, right? Like, 1+1 attack is done, but 1-1. I guess you can rely on the High Templar. You can really lean on those quite heavily here to keep you pretty safe, I would say. I would assume. The Storm comes down. Bio takes a bit of a beating there. Storm stays on that Widow Mine, and eventually the Widow Mine just fade away. Interference Matrix hits the Prism, though, and that means the Storms can't come out. Well, does he have enough to fight anyway? This Bio Army is low HP. And that's scary once these Storms do come out in the next few moments, but he turns away another Interference Matrix, so again, the High Templar are denied. And MARU is going to keep himself safe up this ramp for the moment. But you can't do that forever, though. You only have so many Matrixes. We're already now waiting for the energy back to do one more. Now the High Templar are going to unload as well. He's going to actually morph in an Archon. So he gives up a couple of Storms for an extra Archon here. Interesting. He brings the Prism around the right side. Storm drop, trying to get some SCVs. Looks like maybe he's just done with the commitment in. He just wants to, well, kill a mineral line. That'll do it. 10 SCVs go down. The Storms are good. Now, Trap is still staying on the map, but again, he's not pushing forward too aggressively. He's got the 4th base up. He's getting extra gates. He's also not teching into anything else, really, right? He's kind of happy with what he's working with right now. Like, he's adding an extra immortal, but it's more of the same. So it's more of the same. I think he's just going to keep looking for openings. I mean, this is amazing if he catches these 4 medevacs and the Raven up the left-hand side. He's at least going to... Okay, MARU sees it first. He's going to scan and he sees the army, so he's going to fall back home. That could have been a huge moment. Missile turret fires. Prism is taking shots. I don't think Trap just doesn't want to fight up and siege tanks into defensive position on 3 bases, right? That's just not really a thing. As that's a Storm, though, that's actually hurting quite a bit. Now another one. That moves back. 5th base on the way, and again, just continue to expand. Now, MARU will take the bottom side forward. The bases that you take here are extremely, extremely safe. You know, this is very set back. You got to really push in through a choke point to get here and to do anything about it. Same on this right side, so MARU should get 4 bases easily. And Trap's just saying, yeah, well, if this is how you're playing, if you're not moving out, cool. It's time for me to mega expand. It's time for me to play into my super economy. I think MARU might just be looking at trying to play one of those games like we saw on Oxide. But again, this map is really different because there's 8 bases per player on this map. With these top right, far left bases being a thing, there's a lot of bases to work with. So it plays very differently to Oxide. We're actually going to see Trap is going to go up this ramp. There's so many Widow Mines here and Tank Fire. Now Zealots are going to charge in over here, but MARU's already anticipating it. Boom, EMPs land. He does walk into a Storm, and the Zealots did pull back. I mean, maybe Trap realizes this is the weak point because there's not as much stack or not as much kind of ground defense here with the tanks and the Widow Mines all over to the right side. Anti-armor missile connects, though. EMPs will start coming down. Planetary Fortress will hold, and that's a chase away. Good EMPs got rid of the rest of the Storms, and now you're chasing down so many of these Archons. Wow. Nice kills here from MARU. Good defense, good usage of what he had to work with. And he actually has a lot of success there. Now, Trap is on his way to Colossus, and I do like the Colossus play because I feel like that's something MARU isn't prepared for. He's got a couple Vikings, a couple Liberators, nothing really in good numbers yet. I mean, he's on his way there. The Storm goes down. He actually kills the High Templar at least, and he actually saves a lot of the units. Yeah, they come out bruised and battered, but they are able to get healed up now. Well, you know, this is a decent medevac count, so brought back up into those bright green health bars, full HP. This is a very scrappy game because it's not scrappy in terms of like they're playing scrappily, but like they're taking a lot of scrappy fights in the sense like it's back and forth. There's a few a few engagements, a lot of skirmishes. Maybe scrappy is not the word I'm really looking for, but a lot of little breakout fights that doesn't commit into anything else. This should be a bit bigger though. The first Storm there was massive. Zealots coming from the top side as well. Was it enough? EMPs are huge on the top side, hitting the Immortals, which are starting to break on through. Another Storm came in. The Colossi are going to have a lot to say about this because there's no way to shut those down as MARU gets turned around, and it is Trap pushing MARU back rather than MARU ending up pushing in. These medevacs now are drained of energy. There's basically nothing on the map to deal with these Colossi, and a couple more command centers coming in from MARU over on the left, so he's ready to keep on expanding. Wow, Trap comes out of this. He's 90 probes, so remember, if you look at resources lost, it's actually a little bit favorable for MARU, but not massively so. When you realize that Trap's had actually a pretty good income lead over the last 5 minutes, that's a little bit concerning if you're a MARU fan right now. You've got to be a little bit worried about that. This next fight needs to be that little bit better for MARU for sure. And he is on his way to a fusion core and extra starports, so he is getting answers up for the ever-evolving tech of Trap. So he is getting his answers up for that. Prism will pull over to the right side with the rest of this army. And MARU is going to go stimming up the right side as well to try to see where he can get to. Both going to charge in. Rocks will go down. Stalkers are going to blink but get turned around. And the rest of this continues to chase on through as well. MARU's still moving down the bottom. Of these Zealots being picked away at. Advanced Ballistics is on the way. Colossi shots going down and SCV's taking hefty damage. Command Center is burning. Command Center is dead. And MARU just lost a 5th base. Now he has other CCs. I don't think that's an immediate problem. He's down 30 supply though, and he needs to kind of bunker up and just sort of hold. Right? Like he needs to just defend a little while because right now Trap has a maxed out army. Trap has 6 bases going to base 7. Yeah, this is looking worse and worse for MARU as time passes by. Now, the only thing is he's still trading decently, so that helps with the income. But then the income is getting, becoming more and more of an issue. High Templars go down. Only one of them dropped out of the prism. 3 of them die inside there. Sorry, that was a misclick. Vikings are firing onto the Colossus. Liberators here to defend. I think MARU holds this spot. Maybe? Oh, it's so close. The Vikings aren't being target fired down by anything, so they'll get the Colossus, and then SCVs with a couple of units coming through should be able to turn the rest of this around, but there's the extra Zealots from Trap, and that's going to storm on him, and now MARU should surely be pushed back. The Liberator will go down. The Stalkers are here. MARU keeps on pulling away. A couple extra ghosts showing up. They're pretty good damage output against Zealots, and definitely helping. Remember, this is also +3 attack against only +2 armor, so once the shields are gone, the Bio Army's actually having a pretty good time against the Zealots. Still pushing in. These other Zealots going down. The Immortal, the Stalker being chased away as well. 2 more Colossi about to pop. The Liberators continuing to come on through. Liberators setting up. Couple Vikings overhead. Liberators still pushing forward here. Okay, I mean, you're still kind of rocking an attempt to take a 6th base. A 5th base with an orbital command against a 7 base Trap. Our holds for the moment. The MP goes down. I do worry that Trap is maybe starting to get into a position where he's kind of very gateway heavy, and if the bio army can build up a lot more, or a little bit more, not a lot more necessary, but it's getting to this point where he might just be too gateway heavy. Like, he panic reinforced with the Stalkers and Zealots, and that eats away a lot of his potential to have extra tech units, and that's where MARU could maybe win some future fights a bit more convincingly. Liberators are going to get the siege up there. Obviously, they're going to be big to try and keep on denying this. EMPs are good to scare this Protoss army away. Both players get to be maxed out again. MARU's up on 80 SCVs as well, so his economy is doing way better than previously. That income grab going back in his favor a little bit. Here we go. High Templars are going to call dropping down. Storms all over the place. Oh, I mean, the Liberators are still sieged up here. They are firing, and the Stalkers are taking a lot of hits as MARU comes out heavily in supply, chasing this army down now, and he's going to get a catch on these Colossi, which is a huge set of kills, because now we really don't have any tech up on the map for Trap. He has just one Colossus, and that's about it. He's got an Immortal as well. It's kind of what I was saying. You run out of, the kind of good units. Colossus goes down. Liberators are just, well, okay, they're kind of abandoned here. That's not ideal. I mean, there's still just the fact that this is Ghost Lib against basically a gateway army is extremely good for MARU in terms of the composition he's working on, and I just don't see how Trap's winning this anymore. The resources loss has opened up massively after that previous fight. I might have to go back and have another look at that one, because at the moment it feels like MARU is pushing through to take this win. Comes up, denies one of the bases. I mean, there's a few other bases to go, but this gives MARU so much map control. Now he gets bases of his own up and running. His Liberator count continues to build up effectively. Army sets up the left-hand side. EMP is coming down. His Stalk is still being picked away at. The Zards are charging through. The Colossus taking a few more shots. Viking's going to come into play to fight that Colossus off as well. Colossus goes down. The Immortals are dead. GG from Trap, and MARU is going to take game number 5. MARU wins it 3-2. Let's take a quick rewind around that 16-ish minute marker for that fight, because I just want to slow it down a little bit and just show exactly what's wrong for Trap here. Let's just look at what these armies cost. The Terran army is worth more than the Protoss army. This is absolutely a case of Trap has been like, oh crap, what can I build quickly to like rebuild? And he goes for Zealots. He goes for Stalkers. 21 Zealots, 14 Stalkers. This is basically a gateway army against a teched up, maxed out Terran player. Right? It's Trap has an advantage, and he doesn't just step back to play that advantage. He continues to almost panic build units or feel the need to keep being aggressive. I mean, I feel like I've already explained it, but you run into this fight basically on no tech, and I mean, huge EMPs, so already you're negating a lot of the power of what a gateway army would be good for anyway, and that's meant to happen late game, and that's why you're not gateway heavy late game, right? Then you've got the Liberators, which are now fighting Stalkers that have already been hit by an EMP. So these Liberators are going to start massacring Stalkers if they want to commit to the fight. And there's a lot of them as well. There's 5 sieged up Liberators in this fight. There's Vikings in this fight that will put some extra damage on Colossus, but at the end of the day, like, these Colossi aren't going to do enough because the Zealots will just go down so quickly, and even the Storms aren't great. They're actually hitting a lot of Zealots. Yeah, it's forcing the bio to split, but I mean, what can you do? Now these Liberators, the Stalkers blink in, Liberators do their job, and there's no Zealots here to really tank anymore. And again, maybe missing that armor upgrade has something of an impact too, but it was truly the composition that went wrong for Trap. I mean, you go back to like 14 minutes, right? So this is a couple minutes before this fight happens. And you look at this, and yeah, it's still very Stalker Zealot heavy, but the Terran army is a little bit different, right? It's a little bit more Ghost favorable. You don't have the Liberator count there as much. It's still maybe even a problem here, though, right? Because this fight, you kill the Prism, and this is kind of the fight that brings MARU back into the game a little bit, because he kind of does okay here, right? Like, you clean up. It's the same sort of fight. Now, let's go back a little bit further and look at the armies again. Maybe this is a little bit too far, but it's just how the Terran army develops versus how the Protoss army is developing, right? The Protoss army is sort of almost stuck back where it used to be, and that's the problem. This was actually a bad time to jump back to, because it was just after this fight as well, and that was another big one. But what does Trap rebuild into here? Like, if we go forward like 30 seconds or so? Because I feel like Trap rebuilds here and is looking good, right? See, I'm actually surprised there's still so many ghosts here. And the tanks as well. Okay, I'm gonna say fair enough. Trap's been kind of playing the Zealot Stalker heavy style for a long time. I will then take by what I said, and maybe he's been doing this for a long time. I thought he was on a better army earlier, but it definitely, I mean, the Liberator count getting up definitely has an impact. I definitely think that just I definitely think you just need to start getting a different army when this army of the Terran comes up anyway, though, right? When you've got this many ghosts, the Liberator count starts to rise. I think that's kind of the point where you need to be doing some stuff like this. I mean, this fight was good anyway, right? This is the fight where Trap comes out ahead. Oh, that's the one where they trade evenly. Well, they rebuild. I mean, these fights are kind of okay because at the end of the day, you're mining more as Trap. It's not trading that much worse. But yeah, I mean, obviously, you keep taking those fights and eventually the trades go badly. It's interesting that Trap was actually so Zealot Stalker heavy forever. Maybe something to look at where you say, well, hey, Maru's been kind of, you know, playing against the same army for a long time, and finally he finds a way to fight against it. I think it maybe even says it's credit to Maru. He took a lot of fights while Trap was in that army, so he kept rebuilding the same army. And eventually that was Maru's kind of ticket to victory, right? He was going to force a good fight against that at some point. Yeah. Kind of a cool game to rewind through a little bit, actually, and kind of go back and look at it a little bit. Definitely gives us some cool insight as to how that developed and how Maru kind of found his way in the game. Fun stuff. Great series between Trap and Maru, wrapping up this best of 5 in Maru's favor, of course.